Good morning, afternoon, evening. This is the One Man Militia, and I'm here with the last segment of my collection lookalike percentage series. And currently, 12 is the magic number. I currently have 12 gauge chambered firearms in my collection, or shall I say, shotguns slash firearms. All are chambered in 12 gauge. Unfortunately, I don't have 20 gauge or any other gauges. I have what's the most common and the most popular size the um, as far as the caliber. 12 firearms equates to about 17% of my collection is chambered in 12 gauge. 6% of that collection consists of actual firearms, which are the TAC 14s. I currently own four of them. As I'll show you, the TAC 14 has a 14-inch barrel, which is shorter than the 16, or was shorter than the 18-inch barrel, but overall length is greater than 26 inches long. Out of that collection, if I say I have one of a firearm, by default that's 0.01%. And currently I have three shotguns that hold that title. One is a Stoeger double defense over under tactical shotgun. One is a Charles Daly triple honcho um, shotgun, and then the last one is the Smith & Wesson M&P 12, um, which is a bullpup shotgun. I'll explain each of these shotguns as well, and then I'll give a little bit of information as far as um, Remington, and as far as the 12 gauge, and I'll give you some information about velocity as well. I'll go ahead and start off. First, we'll start off with the TAC series. This particular model is a TAC 14. This is a magazine-fed firearm, not shotgun, not baby shotgun, or any other name you could think of, but this is considered a firearm according to the ATF. We're going to show you that this is a empty magazine, and I already have the action opened. As far as this TAC 14, I did do what I call universal modifications with this particular firearm. I did add the heat shield along the top here. It does make it a little stiff to rack, but I think if I just racked it more, that it would eventually loosen up a little bit. I did add a little door breacher on here, and basically it has a badass look to it. But other than that, it's used to, breach doors or the such. Also, I did add a 1-inch rail system due to the Magpul foregrip here. And when I added the 1-inch rail system, I was able to add an Olight. All of my Olights are PL Mini Valkyries 1500 lumens. This is the TAC 14. This is the detachable version. Also, all of my firearms do have a little rubber hand grip here. Makes it a little bit easier to keep hold of it. My next one here is just the regular TAC 14. This one has the same modifications, the heat shield, the 1-inch rail system, the Olight as well. Also, it does have the hand grip here. And I forgot to mention, other than the magazine fed, this particular model, and with all of my other Remington 870s when I had the opportunity, I put the Archangel 7-shot shell holder. TAC 14-inch barrel. Next one here, I have the TAC 14 with the wood on it, and basically the action is opened as well. It does have similar modifications. It's got the door breacher, heat shield, side saddle, and it does have a rubber grip. And basically the only thing it doesn't have is the 1-inch rail system here due to it having the wood furniture. So this would be considered a day gun out of my collection. I want to go back quickly to the TAC 14. I just want to show you that the action has been opened and it was safe, no rounds. The last of the TAC 14s, probably my newest of the collection, even though it was gotten almost a year ago, is the Marine Magnum. Marine Magnum has all of the, well, it has most of the modifications. Modification I didn't add the heat shield on it because I didn't want to take away from the Marine Magnum look. I didn't add the door breacher on it because I wanted to keep it more original with the Marine Magnum look. I did add the side saddle because I do like utilization. Carry 7 extra rounds. I did add the Olight 1500 lumens and the rail system. And also I added the Rapture hand grip as well. That's it as far as the TAC 14s. We're going to move on to the next one, which is the M&P 12. M&P 12 is a what we call a bullpup shotgun. What I mean about the bullpup is built on a platform where your action, the action here is behind the trigger. We're gonna go ahead and rack it here so that it is an empty round. I mean an empty firearm, or an empty shotgun, I should say. Rounds are loaded in through here. The one thing that's praised about this bullpup design, you get a full shotgun out of a platform, for example, that is comparable in length to the firearm. I get to turn it around here. This M&P 12 is about 26 inches long. It's kind of hard for me to line them both up exactly. But basically, you get a full-fledged shotgun with the 18-inch barrel in a package that's about as long as this firearm, which makes it a shotgun. I did add a Bushnell like red dot here, because particularly with a shotgun, you don't have to be precise and 100%, because at the most I'll be able to get us about 100 yards at expert level with the slug. The thing about the M&P 12 here, it does have a handle similar to the M&P 15s, the M&P 10, M&P 10s, M&P 15s, and the M&P series pistols. It does have the changeable back strap here. The one thing that's praised about this, other than being a good gun, a good shotgun as far as home defense in a close quarter situation, is also the fact that it holds 15 rounds. It holds 7 in each magazine tube, and as you can see here, there are 2. As you can see, it's empty also, but it has 2 sides here, 7 rounds apiece, and 1 in the chamber. Total of 15. So you have a lot of chances to defend yourself. However, with the bullpup, probably the downside with it is with most shotguns, while you're aiming it like this, you can kind of slap a round in, and I guess I could with practice, and you can kind of keep your sight. But this particular model, I found it easier just to put it like this. Well, put it barrel down and just load until each side is full. Then you rack it and whatever side the round came out of, you load it to make up for what you racked. It does have a I guess a little channel selector, so you can choose either side as far as the bullpup. You know which side you want to empty. You can do a mixture of slugs, birdshot, double eye buck, whatever you choose to. It does have a foregrip on here that matches the handle as well. It has this little mechanism here, and that's what allows you to rack it. The little mechanism right there. And it does have a rail system on top for me to mount the Bushnell. But the M&P12, it's a great gun. I love it. I've shot it only a few times, and I'm just proud to have at least one bullpup out of the collection. Okay, now we're going to go to some of the other full-size shotguns here. We're going to step away from Smith & Wesson for a while because my next firearms are mostly Remington 870s besides those two, and I will show you. First, I have the Remington 870. This is the tactical DM version. Let me step back. Full-fledged shotgun, 18-inch barrel. Magazine is empty. It is a magazine fed. And then also nothing in the chamber as well. Or yeah, nothing in the chamber. Nothing in the action. I love pistol grips, and so this particular model is obviously a pistol grip. The one thing that kind of turned me onto the Remington 870s is at one point I was at the fork in the road between Mossberg, Remington. Spoke with one of the guys at the gun shop, and basically the Remington had the safety located here. This is a crossbow safety. And the good thing about a crossbow safety is if you have the pistol grip, you can just move your thumb here and you can actuate it. You can use your thumb on the other side. I mean, you can use your forearm, your thumb, and you can actuate the two. And you can kind of somewhat keep your sight picture. When I figured that out, between the Mossberg has the safety on the tang, which is on the top of the gun. And if you was into keeping it with the regular stock, not making it a pistol grip, then as you hold it, you can switch it like such. But when I found that out, I was a Remington 870 man from that point on. Also, it does have an O-light, but this is one of the first O-lights here. This one is got a pressure pad on it. It's not quite as bright. I'm thinking at some point I might change it out and get like the PL Mini Valkyrie just to kind of keep with the same O-light. And also the PL Mini is a little bit brighter, but I have it set up to where I use my left hand to actuate it. That is the tactical Smith & Wesson. I'm sorry, that's the tactical Remington 870 magazine fed. My next shotgun I have, it is a Remington magazine fed with the Magpul furniture. And I also forgot to mention, when I go back to the tactical, that I did add a fancy little side saddle. It does hold 6, but it is a leather side saddle. What I thought was a pretty good idea, you know, pretty good look and everything. This one I have is a Remington Magpul furniture DM version. This does have just a regular end here, stock. It doesn't have a pistol grip. So I might be at a little disadvantage as far as my safety here. But nonetheless, we're going to go ahead and show you this empty firearm. Nothing in the magazine. And nothing in the chamber as well. Now with this one, I did add the Olight on it. Yeah. Has Magpul furniture. And as you probably see, this thing that's dangling, this is a 25 round strap. Since I didn't have the option to put the Archangel side saddle holder on it, I chose to go with this strap because it did have the little handles here to hold it. And that is, well, one more thing, it does have a rail system here. I chose not to use this rail system right now. It does have a little sight on it there. A little iron sight, and it does have a good iron sight right there. I chose to leave this one without a red dot on it. And it would be considered a night gun as well. My next one is another Remington 870. This is number 3. This particular model, I like to call it, let's see here. I like to call it side folding because the stock on it folds to the side here. It does have the Magpul foregrip. I do have the Olight. Let me show you that it is an empty firearm. There's nothing in there. Now this one does have the Archangel side saddle holder right here. 7 rounds, not just a mere 6. I did put a little red dot over here as well. This is a sight mark, and it does pretty good for what it's, for what it's made to do. Like I say, it's a shotgun. It's not for long distance accuracy, but it's for close quarter. You fold this in, and you got you something you can kind of move around a little bit. Not quite as compact as the bullpup, but it does its thing. Fourth in the collection is basically another Remington 870. This does have the pistol grip as well. I think this is the first shotgun I bought to lead up to this collection. It does have a collapsible stock. As you can see, nothing in the chamber. It does have the Archangel side holder, or side saddle holder here as well, 7 rounds. It does have a Magpul foregrip. Now I was unable to add the Olight onto this one. That's for some reason the M-lock wouldn't fit inside of the grooves here, so it would be considered a day gun in my collection. Nonetheless, it is a very effective gun. And it has the collapsible stock, so you can change the length of pull. Longer arm person, shorter arm person. And then last of the Remington 870s, of course, is Marine Magnum. It's got the same modification. It's got the M-lock. It's got the light. It's got the 7-shot Archangel holder. Also, this one has a little bit more because I was able to find another leather holder here with the cheek well, the little place to rest your cheek on here. So this particular firearm is 13 when you pick up the gun, plus whatever's loaded in. I think this particular one holds 6 rounds in the magazine tube. The previous ones that I have, the Detachable magazines hold 6 rounds plus 1, that's 7. This one holds 6 plus 1, 7. And the last 3 holds 5 plus 1 is 6. But empty. And this one does have Magpul furniture as well, but I have the leather bronze dog leather shell carrier on it, so unfortunately you're unable to see it. It does have the little swivels here, but I just haven't used them yet. But that is the Marine Magnum. Okay, the first of my oddballs is the Stoeger Double Defense. Actually, with this firearm, when I first got it, I had gotten one, kept it for a little while, and then I thought, oh, it's just a novelty piece, so I'll just trade it in because it was only 2 shots. Well, after I traded it in, I got to missing it, and then I ended up finding another one, and I purchased it, and this has been in my collection for a couple of years now. But basically, this is what they call a break open action, and I'm gonna break it open so you can see that it is an empty firearm. It does have a configuration of over under. It's got rail system, which I like, and it has a dual rail system, one on each side of the barrels. And so what I did, just kind of as a joke, I put 2 Olights. You probably can't see me, look like a set of headlights close. So it should be combined 3,000 lumens, because they're 1,500 lumens a piece. Now, will I ever use both of these at the same time? Probably not. But I just got it on there for now because I have an excess of Olights due to the fact I did trade off some of my, I did sell off some of my shotguns. I kept the best of the best, or what I thought was the best of the best. But we have a break open action, Stoeger Double Defense. Has synthetic wood here, synthetic wood in the back. It's got the bronze dog leather shell holder that holds 6 rounds. And the fire sequence of the Stoeger Double Defense is bottom, top. Oh, and also it has, if you notice here, it's got the fiber optic sight. And then, last of the shotguns, we have another break open action. It's my pride and joy. This is the Charles Daly Triple Huncho. It is a break open action, so we're going to break it open. It's a little bit stiff because I didn't use it as much, but as you can see, there's no rounds in the triple barrel. It does have it's got the little beaded sight here. And it does have a rail system just mounted on the bottom for the Olight. There is another model that has a rail system along the top. I was hoping I could find that model, but unfortunately I didn't find it. But I am thankful that I found this, because this one is badass alone. All I need is one rail system for one light, and she's good to go. I did add a bronze dog leather holster here, and basically this holds twice as many rounds as the gun itself. This is a Charles Daly. Now the fire sequences for the Charles Daly is right, left, top. Pull the trigger once, the right side. If you leave it closed, you pull the trigger again, the left side. You pull it a 3rd time without opening it, and it's the top. If you, for example, if you pull the trigger, and it shoots out the right side, and then you break it open, you put a shell, take the old shell out, put a new shell in, and you pull the trigger again, it's going to go back to the first. It's going to go back to the right side by default. That's how the stoker is. It's gonna go bottom, top, and if you like pull the trigger once, it shoots the bottom. You open it up, you take the shell out, put another one in, you close it. It's gonna fire the bottom again. And then also with these two break open actions, when you every time you open it up like that, then when you close it back, you automatically engage the safety. So you have to keep in mind to disengage the safety. And this one is on the Tang, let's say, which is a good place for this shotgun with it not being, pistol grip. Now, a few things about the Remington 870. Remington 870 is a very old design, but it's a very well proven design. It was designed in 1850, and they started producing it in, it was designed in 1950, and they started production on it in 1951. Currently in production now. There was a little hiccup with Remington Arms during COVID, and so the prices skyrocketed on the Remingtons. And some of these firearms I did show you, and the ones I had in the past, I did pay a little bit more due to when I bought them, and the fact Remington was out of business temporary. But now they're back. They've been back for probably a couple of years now. And so far, 11 million Remington 870s have been produced. These firearms are used vastly by the public for sporting events, for competition, for home defense, for whatever the public wants to do with them or whatever they need to do with them. Also, many military organizations and law enforcement have invested into Remington, and they have used a product. I know and I'm still yet to get one, a police magnum, for example. The law enforcement likes to use those. These Remington 870s have been used widely from Vietnam War, the Lebanese Civil War, the Afghanistan War, and Iraqi War, and it might be currently being used, throughout different conflicts or different things in America. The thing about the shotgun, which I love so much about my collection, started off with a shotgun. Like I said, I showed you the very first one. In case you've forgotten, not my very first one, but the very first one that led to this collection. My very first one was a Rock Island Armor back in 2014 or 2013 or so. But this adjustable stock, this is the first one that started the collection and led to what we're looking at now. But basically the shotgun, what I love about it is the most versatile. You can use the lighter loads, for bird shot, for people that want to hunt birds and they don't want to blow all the meat off the bird, have something left to consume or whatever, or have enough left to take to a taxidermist and make a statue out of. I unloaded several rounds out of mine, and I used what's called a double-eyed buck. Basically, a double-eyed buck. It has these little pellets in here. It's about 9 of them. It does have the gunpowder right behind the pellets. And this little circle is the primer. When the hammer hits the primer, causes ignition, the gunpowder causes an explosion, and you have 9 pellets to come out. The 12 gauge version is about equivalent as, from what I've heard, about 72 calibers. I've heard some quote 76. So between 72 to 76 calibers, and that could vary between the 2.5 inch shell and the 3 inch shell, and I have 2.5 inch shells for mine mostly. And you can also use a slug. A slug basically is something similar to this, but instead of having 9 little pellets, it have a 1 ounce steel ball in it, which is kind of shaped like a bullet. sometimes the ball has like little rifle slicks down the side because when they come out, it comes out in a rifling, where it's like a twisting motion, and those you can turn a shotgun into almost an AR rifle. You can get about 100 yards on the average, maybe a little bit more, depending on accuracy and how much of an expert you are. Because when you're using slugs, you're getting the most recoil. When you use double odd buck, what we call double odd buck or 00 buck, you're getting about half the recoil or some of the recoil, but not all of it. But it's the best for home defense because in the event that you have to protect yourself and what doesn't hit the intruder, it'll most likely stick in your drywall. It won't be as prone to go through the wall and hurt a loved one. And then the bird shot. Bird shot, you can use it for defense, close quarter, tight apartments, that kind of thing. But then you're gonna get the least amount of recoil. It has a bunch of little beads in it. I think about 25 or so. I'm not quite sure, but it's just enough to kill a bird, basically. Now, basically, the 12 gauge shell, they range anywhere, and I just learned this yesterday. I did know about, I knew about 10 gauge up to 28 gauge, with the two extremes being the most, I guess the rarest. And 12 gauge is always the most popular, the most common. When you go to any store, you're gonna find 12 gauge before you find anything. Everybody uses this. Other than this one, you're gonna find 20 gauge. 20 gauge is about equivalent to 67 calibers, and it does all of the same things as described with the 12 gauge. But basically, I just learned that the gauge ranges anywhere between 2 to 28 gauge. Now, I've never seen a 2 gauge, and I know a 2 gauge would most likely hurt, but from when I read from my sources, the 2 gauge, they stopped making that, or they stopped packing that in the early 20th century. And I think it was somewhere in France they use a 2 and something gauge round. I'm not quite sure. But I don't know as much as like 2 gauge and all that. I have heard of 10 gauge, but 10 gauge is it's a rare gauge to purchase. And 28 gauge, I've heard of it, and I think the one I've seen was a 26 gauge that was online somewhere, but 28 gauge is very rare also. Your best bet is either stick with the 20 gauge or 12 gauge, either one. Basically, the velocity ranges between 13 to 16 feet per second, depending on if you're using birdshot, buckshot, slugs. And there is one more round I had never heard of before, and I just did some research and found out it's called a ferret round. If anyone knows anything about these weird 2 gauge, 28 gauge, 26 gauge, and all that stuff, please leave a comment if you know anything about them. But also this ferret round, it's a I guess it's similar to this, but basically it's designed to penetrate thin barriers like car doors. And once it penetrates those thin barriers, it's designed to release a gas payload. Now, I'm not quite sure why a civilian would want to release a gas payload, in somebody's car, for example. I could kind of see if law enforcement is trying to do it in an extreme situation. But if you know anything about the ferret round, F-E-R-R-E-T, please leave a comment and please educate me on it. But that's just something that I read about it. I haven't seen it with my own 2 eyes or anything. As far as the 12 gauge, that is pretty much concludes this whole series. I have about 7 series. We went through my 9 millimeters, 40 calibers, 45 ACP, 1911s, 10 millimeter, the revolvers, the AR rifles, and now we got the 12 gauge. So if I counted that all correctly, that's about 8 in the series here. So if you look at it collectively, instead of me saying, oh, my 2024 gun collection, because I noticed that there's a lot a lot of very interesting and a lot of very versatile gun collection. I didn't want to be as run of the mill with it. I wanted to do something a little bit original, and so what I chose to do is to break my collection up, give you a percentage of what caliber or what firearm made in my collection. And I know it's a little bit hard to grasp it all together as far as 18 plus 14 plus 23% plus 12% plus etc whatever the percentage is. But this just I kind of break it down to let you know that I have a certain amount of firearms and I have a certain amount of caliber of the collection and what percentage it makes. um, it's been fun bringing you all the knowledge, showing you my collection. I want to thank all of my subscribers. I want to uh, thank you for all your likes. Thank you for your comments. Like I say, I do learn from your comments. Please continue to comment. Please continue to subscribe. And please continue to view. Um, that is pretty much it. The One Man Militia is out. You all have a very blessed day, evening, night, and thank you again.